Hey, it's time for another DIY. And I'm your host, Kenny. And today's has something to do with skulls. Skulls and burying people. Once again, I'm Kenny, and this is Dots Adventures. Join us if you're not too scared. All right, this ideal, I saw another friend of mine, YouTuber, Facebook pal, fellow hunter, dude, and I decided I'd give it my shot at it. It's crosses with skulls and great stuff. That's the ingredients I'm going to be using, except for I am going to use the wood like he did in his video, but I'm also going to use a PVC pipe to add my own little spin to it, because once I use the PVC, I can then use rebar to drive it in my ground and reuse them over and over without the wood getting damaged as much. I've used wood crosses before, and they hold up because, you know, they're cheap for one thing, and usually using pallet wood. And then I drive them in the ground, and they hold up, and I've used them for years. I still got a couple, and I've made a couple different ones. But this time, once I put a little effort into it, putting the skulls and the great stuff on it, I want them to last slightly longer than, you know, probably the 3 or 4 years that the wood would. I think I'll be able to use them throughout the time I'm doing a hunt, my home hunt. So I'm going to give you an overview of the supplies we're going to be using, and I'm going to walk you through. It looked real easy, and I decided, like I said, I was going to give him my little spin out on it. And this is Vick from Monster Misfits ideal. He looked really good doing it. He's got a YouTube channel following, and I think he's going to be at some different events selling his products. He does real good work. He does a lot better work than I do. But once again, I'm Kenny, and I'm going to show you how to do this. All right here's what we're going to start with. We're going to start with some great stuff we got from Lowe's Hardware. And we're going to use some brown paint to paint the PVC to make it look more like wood. We've got some screws. We've got some skulls we bought on sale last year, or maybe the year before. We picked them up at Lowe's or Home Depot, one of those places. Then we even bought some smaller ones. We're going to give it a whirl on all of these. Then this one is, I think, a Dollar Tree one. And then I know for a fact that this one is a Dollar Tree. We're going to try it. This one is just like the ones in there, except for somebody's already painted the eyes. It may have been a different year from Home Depot or Lowe's, Walmart. And then there is a milk jug skull. We're going to use all of these. We're going to try them all out different ways. We've even got some hands from the Dollar Tree. We're not sure if we're going to be using those, but we got them to try. And then, like I said, we're going to use pallet wood. These are pallets I get from work. They're just slip sheets, kind of, that goes in between stuff to keep stuff from breaking. And then we've got some scrap PVC pipe that we're going to use. And I think we might use our saw back there to cut some of this stuff up. But that is the tools that we're going to be using right there. As of right now, this is our first time doing it. We get better with every try. So join us and see how. So make sure we make it through with 10 fingers and 10 toes. Okay, what we've done was we cut some PVC pipe down. You missed that part. We did that off camera. We just used the saw. These are 30 inches if anybody wants to. And then we've got some cross members that we're going to put here. There are different sizes. We got like a 24, a 22, and a 20 that we cut out of that. Now we've already started to take apart our board. our pallet. We've got one of these handy dandy pry bars, and this stuff's coming apart real easy. It usually doesn't come apart this easy. I don't know why. It's old because I've had this pallet for a little while. I don't know if that's the reason it's all coming apart real easy, but it is. I would highly recommend getting one of these to help with dissecting your pallets apart. Makes it so much easier. They even have a electrical thing that'll come in there and take them apart if you want to spend extra money. Just coming apart real good. I got a hammer out and piece of I got this chisel is what I got, but I don't need the hammer or the chisel to take it apart. I am going to come back in and get rid of the nails. I'm going to do that off camera. And these are taller than our PVC. So we'll probably cut them down too. And we'll cut them down off camera as well. We're probably going to go with, that's the same height. Now if you wanted just to use the wood, you could come in and put an angle on these so you could drive them in the ground with a hammer. I'm not going to do that with these. What I'm going to do is drill some holes and run some either twine or zip ties through there, and then put the rebar in the ground and then just put them on the rebar for the crosses, what I'm going to do. And that's where we're at right now. I'll catch you back up when I cut some of the wood down and get rid of the screws, and we'll go from there. All right, what we got is pieces of the wood. We cut off a little off the end to make it more cross-like. Now we're going to split this wood so it isn't as wide. We've got our little crowbar, pry bar. Make a couple indentions, then we'll come back with our chisel. We're just going to split it. Works well. It is very loud though. Then we split them, and I think the odd sizes works well for it. We're going to come back and we're going to make us a cross. We're going to screw these things together and we'll pick you back up after that. All right, we got our cross beam on our crosses right here. And all we're going to do is drill a pilot hole. We also drilled a pilot hole over here. Right there. So now we're going to attach the screw to the PVC. If we didn't do the pilot hole, it would be a lot harder to get through the rounded shape of the PVC. You can do it. It's just a lot easier to go ahead and drill a pilot hole if you have the tools available to do that. And really, you could probably just take a heat gun and melt them together if you wanted to, I think. Or maybe even zip ties or some tape to make it. If you didn't have the screw gun to do it, you had other crafting tools or just tape. I think tape would work. I don't know how long tape would last, but I know it would work for the initial couple years. All right. There's one of my crosses. I've made several. Now I'm going to attach the skulls to them. So the first one we're going to do is the milk jug skull. We're going to put it right there. What we've decided we're going to do is we're going to just take our box cutter and cut it around the top and then slide it right down on top of there. You can use a hot knife for this type of work if you want it to. I mean, in fact, it would probably work better. Since I'm out in the garage and I don't have my hot knife out here, I'm just using a box cutter. Make sure you're cutting away from your fingers, not towards your fingers, not towards your body. Cut a hole. Drop the whole thing over the top of it. And I'm going to come back in and make a little more space. If anybody's wondering, milk jug skulls, there's all kinds of YouTube videos out there. And in fact, on my channel, there's a YouTube video where I made some milk jug skulls. And this is part of the stash that I've been still working on. I made a bunch at one time. But it was mostly just to show that I could do it. And I have accomplished that. And I really like the Dollar Tree skulls. You can get a case of them for $48, and I think there's 48 skulls in there plus tax. And they work well for what I do. You can color them and paint them and distress them, and they look real good. A lot less effort, a lot less work. But if you want to do the milk jug skulls and you're on a budget and want to do $48, I can see that. And there's that one. One down, 150 more to go. All right, here is a Dollar Tree in the PVC pipe. And we've run a screw to the back of it, and we're going to run a screw right through the skull. That's all we're going to do to attach it. We cut out a piece in the back to make it sit on the pipe a little bit better. There's another one. We're just hammering them out. Each time we do a different skull or a different process, we'll show you what we're doing in case you want to do it that way or not. All right, so we're doing this wood one, and we attach the cross beam with these screws right here. We've pushed in that skull, and we're going to drill a couple holes, and we're just going to attach that right on top of that. How that's going to go. Once again, you can use a box cutter probably. You can probably use a hot knife. But we already got the screw gun out, so we're going to go ahead and put a hole. Like that's going to work for us. Doesn't look like that screw's quite long enough. So we'll back that out and put in a slightly longer screw, and we'll work our way there. Going to hang right on there. We're going to attach one more screw, and we'll call that one good as well. All right, here's what we got so far. We made a few. Basically the same process on all of them. We made some smaller ones. We took the screws that were hanging out and we just drilled a hole. Then we put another screw to hold them secure. Did the same thing on them. We did two where we cut the hole and dropped it through the top. Now the process will be putting the great stuff to them. All right, now we're gonna put the great stuff on it. Put the camera up a little higher. It's a little wobbly right now. And I recommend wearing gloves. You ever had great stuff on your hands? It don't come off very easily. All right. Right there. It'll make it either look like blood and guts. It could look like moss. It could look like a lot of different things that however you want to paint it. We're going to let that set up a little bit. Then we're going to come back in and we're going to mess with it just a little bit. We're going to continue on down the road and do the rest of these skulls that we've got laid out. That was one of the many that we got laid over there. So check back with us. We'll get back with you and see if we have any different techniques or anything. All right, so I've done the front. What I didn't show you and what I needed to show you is after this sets up, you come in and push in on it to pop some of the bubbles with your fingers and gloves or a stick. You can use a stick. You can probably use a screw, a nail, something. You just got to take the air out of that to make it not look as neat. So, showing you the back sides of these because I put some on the back side for it all to blend in together. And here's a couple more. I'm letting them get tacky, and then I'm going to come in and take the air bubbles out. And then after I take the air bubbles out, then the painting is next. Yep, so down to the last little bit on the great stuff. Like I said, you got to let it tack up, set for a little while, and then you come back in and you pop the air bubbles out of it to give it not as a clean look as the great stuff. It makes it more organic looking. So that's what I'm waiting on right now. I've used 2 cans so far. I'm on my 3rd can, and I'm letting that set up, and then the painting will be the last step. And you can do as neat of a paint job as you want to, or not. You can do dry brushing, you can make it whatever you want to. We'll see what we do with ours. Since we're doing a bunch of them, and they'll probably be in the back of my cemetery, we're not putting as much detail in them as if they were in the forefront of our cemetery. But that's where we're at right now. We're in the waiting process, and it'll be like that for you guys. All right, we're back. And all we're doing is we let it set up a little while, and we're running this screw in here, taking some of the air bubbles out. Like I said, making it look more organic. It's hard to do this one-handed and film, but you kind of get what we're doing here. We're going to continue on now. So here's my finished work. You can put more details into your skulls. I basically did a paint job and then a stain on the skulls. I made them bloody, and these are more like moss and vines growing over. I think they'll look good. All right, finished up a one-day project. These are my skulls. uncrosses cross skulls. As you can see, only took 1 day. Paint job wouldn't take an extra day if you go into more details on it. That's the reason I usually hurry through the paint jobs. But you can make them look as pretty as you want to. This is just a quick tutorial on how to do this. My buddy Vick, I watched his videos and he does a much better job. So Monster Misfits, check him out. His stuff's a lot better. But I saw it and I said, I gotta try that. I think it'll add to my cemetery, and I think it'll work out pretty good. Thanks for watching. This is Dot's Adventures, and like the Grim Life says, happy Halloween.